Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Wendy Sellers here, the HR Lady. We are here talking about recruiting, and we are going to jump into networking your way to success. Welcome back, Josef Stetter.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Thank you. And JC too.
Wendy, it's a pleasure to be back. I've been learning so much through this series so far, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about networking in a way, because allegedly, networking remains essential for career success. And studies do indicate that up to 85% of job openings are filled through networking instead of traditional applications.
Josef, what are your thoughts on that? I know mine.
100% agree. Listen, the 80-20 rule still applies. 80% of the people apply for 20% of the jobs. Those are the ones posted on job postings. 20% of people apply for 80% of the jobs. Those are the hidden markets that can be done through networking. Networking is an art. Unfortunately, most people attend networking with the idea of collecting as many business cards as possible. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've been to a networking event, somebody walked by, go, "Oh, you sound important. Give me your business card." Not my name, not let's have a conversation. And then the next day they're like, "Here's my resume. I need a job." I'm like, "Who are you? Have I earned there?" So I want to kind of focus on mistakes that people do in the networking event and tie that in. So first of all, I want to address the fact that you need to brand yourself when you network. So if you look me up on any social media platform, my favorite color is purple. My website is purple. My business card is purple. When I show up to a networking event, I'm wearing a purple shirt. I have a purple bag. I have a purple pen. My business cards are purple. I have a purple notebook, so that when I send you an email follow-up, I say, "I'm the guy in purple." You might not remember my name, but you'll remember the purple, right? So figure out something that is your signature. It could be glasses, it could be earrings, could be a scarf, could be a pin or brooch that you're wearing, could be a particular necklace that you have, could be, shoes that you're wearing, could be a particular outfit that is not blue or gray or black that looks like everybody else, first of all, right?
I love it. That's actually a really great piece of advice there.
Right. Second thing is, don't come for quantity, come for quality conversations. Yep. So try to pinpoint 5 conversations. Now, if you're going to a networking event where there's a lot of executives, so I'm going to use an example, which I think is a great resource for people that people don't think about as much. The Project Management Institute has breakfast, lunch, and dinners. The people that attend those breakfast, lunch, and dinners are decision makers in multiple industries. Project managers, directors, VPs, so forth. So when you're coming to these events, you can't come and say, "I need a job, I need a job, I need a job." You haven't earned the right. So you need to take it back a few notches and earn the right by making the conversation about them. So, Wendy, you're a successful HR lady. What made you so successful? And let you answer. Right. What would you say are your 3 biggest accomplishments in your career and why? And let you brag about what you've done. Then transition to, if you were mentoring somebody in industry, what would you focus on mentoring them on? Now, I've had a conversation with you where you're talking about your greatness, not me asking for a job. I've now earned a relationship with you where you like me a little bit more, and you're going to remember the conversation because it's not the typical, "Oh, how's the weather, the sports team, I need a job" conversation. Yeah. And then, you can transition to, "You know what? I'm trying to get into this industry. Would you mind critiquing my resume and giving me some feedback on how I can improve it?" If you're getting an executive to give you feedback on your resume, guess what? They're writing the perfect resume that they want to hire. So they're writing the resume that's perfect for them because they've given you feedback on what they want on the resume to hire you. Now, if you've done a good job of building rapport and making it about them, and you've asked for feedback, now say, "I would love to work for you because you sound like a great leader. You sound like somebody that would inspire me to produce great results." And, they just wrote your resume. So they can't really say you're not qualified because they just told you what they want, right? And it's a very different mindset in most people's networking, because most people go to networking with, I'm going to talk to everybody. You know, when you're in large events where you have hundreds, thousands of people, you need to stand out. And so that little tip of not, making a conversation about them can make night and day difference from it. Like, I'll never forget, and this is probably one of the funniest, but also proves a point. I was at a networking event called Networking for Nerds. The title itself tells you everything there. And it was a bunch of like techie software developers and the environment is very kind of like, they had video games and they had which to me is redundant for networking because it defeats the purpose of the networking.
Right.
You're already socially awkward and you're playing in the computer. And so I was listening, there was like four guys standing together, having a drink, talking. And I just kind of politely walked in and listened and kind of introduced myself. And they were all technical writers in the IT world. And they're kind of saying that, they're here to try and drum up business and so forth. And I looked at them and said, okay, so it's awesome that you're technical writers, but have you put any samples of your writing on LinkedIn? And they looked at me like, no, why would we do that? Like, they'll steal our writing material. I'm like, no, they'll get a flavor of who you are as a way of potentially hiring you from your LinkedIn profile. And they just looked at me with this arrogance and were like, what makes you such an expert? And the way they said it rubbed me such the wrong way that I took a deep breath and went, let me see. I've been in recruiting for nearly 20 years. I've worked with companies like Deloitte & Touche, Apotex Pharmaceuticals, Tata Consulting Services, which are your target demographics. I've personally written 20 manuals for companies that changed how they do business. Okay. I've helped over 12,000 people, or now it's 12,000 people, land their dream job. I've written 12 books and I've been published in magazines like Disrupt, USA Today, and various other kind of features. That's what makes me an expert.
I love it.
And then two of them were like, what were you saying about LinkedIn? Like, as soon as I kind of gave it to them in a way, it was like, what were you saying about LinkedIn that we need to do?
The little bit of the kiss and the slap there. So,
right, where it's like, I wasn't trying to be offensive, but I was like, you're at an event called Networking for Nerds, which should tell you in itself that might not be the best place to attract new business. And there's four of you that are technical writers. So technically speaking, you're competing with each other. And instead of spreading out and having conversations with other people, you're talking to each other at the event, right?
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
It's a little redundant in my opinion.
It absolutely is. I want to talk about that a little bit more in our final episode. For now, thank you so much for this information. And thanks everybody for listening. This has been episode 4 of our 5-part series. We're talking about transforming the experience of securing employment. And in our final episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about from moving from application and interview all the way to the offer and landing that dream job. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.